Recently I've been thinking a lot about death, because who knows what's around the corner in the political horizon. And as someone who likes to be prepared and always considers every possibility, as Sherlock Holmes recommends, yeah, this has been the next level in coming to terms with that, I guess. And it's very different, because it's not my own mortality I'm being faced with. That's not a problem. It's bad timing. But if something were to happen on a larger scale, then it's also the question of who's left, and is life, is creation, is contribution for them. If there's no one left, does that mean it's just for us to experience and either take away, or that's it? And so this has really increased my mindfulness, I think, walking around, just really appreciating the beautiful light, the birds, just hearing and seeing everything, feeling the cold, feeling my dry skin, feeling the blue sky, just life. And I'm super grateful that we get to be here on this amazing planet, as it has been until now. We get to experience that. And it's been exhausting mentally, constantly trying to cope with this in the background, also trying to strategize, make calculations and plans if there's anything we can know for sure, anything we can avoid, and still trying to go about my day and do work whose meaning is constantly shifting. Because if I take the perspective, well, all we have is now, and you can find meaning in anything, then I can go all out and do my work and be happy and think to myself, yeah, this is where I am today, this is what I'm doing. And it's good for something, it's good for someone. And when it's all over, that will have been fine. And then of course there's the perspective of there's so much more that can be done. But I'm not in a position to do it, so again, acceptance. And I heard recently from an amazing investor I met at an event who's working with sustainability a lot, an impact investor, who said, I asked him, what do you think, are we going to make it in terms of climate change? Are we too late? And he said it's a valid question, it is unanswered still, but he sees so many very bright and dedicated, especially young people, working on this. Some of the best minds. Everyone's just kind of starting to finally wake up and come up with solutions. And so that was really nice to hear, even though that may not be our biggest concern in the end, depending on how things go. At the same time, it was a little bit depressing, because I realized that the reason that people are jumping on the sustainability bandwagon now, finally, in every angle, in every industry, is because it's now become profitable, become important enough that people will pay money for it. And you know that it always takes that for things to happen, for people to change. I'm more often than usual now in my perspective of just being really sad about humanity. By the way, here in Hamburg we have this cool display that shows the city's total debt compared to the total wealth of the richest, 10%? Yeah, of the city's population, and how fast it's growing per second in euro. Isn't that insane? So the richest 10% of Hamburg has 223 billion euro and this is the rate at which it's increasing right now. Whereas the whole city's dead. It's just 47. And it's right here next to a library. I find it really inspiring to walk past here because it's also like a little sign for me of people do see these things. People are working on improvement. Yeah, and it would be a shame if it just all went to waste. But who knows? You know, like the fable of I don't know what it's called. The guy who, with the sun, and everyone tells him like, oh, that's lucky, and he's like, we can't know. I think his son, I'm gonna butcher it. I'm not even gonna try to tell it, but basically, like every event that happens, people will tell him, oh, that's really lucky, or oh, that's really unlucky, and he's like, who knows? Because each event then leads to the next one being lucky, unlucky. So like I remember, I think at the end he breaks his leg, and everyone's like, oh, that's so unlucky. But then a war breaks out, and the leg means that he is not recruited to go fight, and so he survives. So it's lucky. And yeah, so in the big picture of things, maybe it's not a shame if we have a massive epic failure at national, international, or species level. Because then maybe something else will happen, or maybe this is what was meant to happen, or you know, we're just too small to understand. Yeah, I tried to switch this off, you know, it's not necessarily enjoyable being such a philosophical, abstract brain trying to go around a normal life, and I'm not sure if it's useful. I guess you tell me. I guess if you're watching this and I'm not around anymore, then maybe that was part of my life purpose. Or even if I am around anymore, if this still, even if I am around still, and this moves something, someone, somewhere, then it was worth it. It was worth all my brain energy. Yeah, I'm intentionally making a lot of pauses and enjoying the silence with you, showing you the beautiful scenery, even if it's urban. I think it's still beautiful. Fun fact, there might be a chance of surviving a nuclear explosion in a body of water, according to a website with no sources. Well, I did the thought experiment with an engineer friend, and he said like, dude, you're forgetting the radiation. It's gonna be such an insane amount. Who cares if you survive the fire part of the explosion? And that's true. But I was thinking, yeah, I don't know. Maybe if you like, then get the hell out of there and run to the next hospital. Maybe. But there's no cure for radiation poisoning, so who knows? Also, I've had such a beautiful life. I'm really, really, really happy with it. And I realized that my main concern is not being around to help. You know, whatever happens and whatever comes, if there are survivors, then I would really love to be one of them, because I really think I have the tenacity, at least, and the values to really create positive impact. And I guess if there's one takeaway I would love to leave for society, you know, on this world, for this species, it would be, we need more people with good intentions who are equally as badass as those with selfish or bad intentions. It's like in films, the good guys are so stupid sometimes. And the bad guys are super cunning, of course, because they don't care about anything. They just want to achieve their goal and do what they want. So I need the good people to be like that. Of Of course, good and bad is very subjective and it's not black and white. But I think there's some basic common ground we can all agree on, right? Like lives are more important than money. Like the earth is more important than money. Like maybe one person shouldn't be in power alone at a really high level. Unless they've proven to be an extremely good, reliable leader with great values, who's not gonna let us down and do some crazy, stupid stuff. I think good people tend to think, yeah, well, you know, what can I do? Things will figure themselves out. Or to rally into demonstrations and political movements and things that don't really have an immediate measurable effect. I wish we would take things more into our hands. Just make the change happen. Like, I don't understand why it's so hard for us as a whole to solve these problems. Yes, they're complex. Yes, it's all crazy and messed up. But look at how many problems we've solved when we have the motivation, you know? And the fact that we've seen, for example, 100 times more money suddenly appear out of nowhere and flow into military than the amounts being dedicated to healthcare and education and stuff. So if we really want to, we can. So we gotta really want to. Like really, really, like really badly, like survival level want to, and really put our best minds to it. And start to agree more. You know what I'm saying? Like it's easy. I know. Anyway. That's my 12 cents. It's good to be alive. And as a wise writer put it, maybe death is just the same as when a baby goes through the process of becoming an adult. So for the baby, there's nothing worse than being separated from its parents. All it knows is it needs them. This is safe, that's scary. That's it, you know, they have this tiny world with this certain level of conscious development, no more. We as humans, we see this world and we think this is safe, this is great. I want this, this is comfortable, that's scary. But maybe death really is some kind of frontier, and after that there's this sort of awakening. You know, now when you look back at being a baby, I can't even remember what it felt like being a baby most of the time. But I wouldn't want to go back. I wouldn't want to be entirely dependent and incapable and not fully conscious. Maybe it's like that. Whoever's watching this, whenever you're watching this, I love you. And I wish you all the very best. The very best. Take care.